Saludos a toda la afición de Lucha Libre Online. Este que les habla es Michael Morales Torres, integrante del equipo de Lucha Libre Online, gente. Y tenemos el enorme privilegio de presentarles a nuestro invitado especial en la noche de hoy, de Montreal, Quebec, Canadá, para el mundo. Unos lo conocen como Jean-Pierre Lafitte, otros lo conocen como uno de los Quebecers. Nosotros lo conocemos como PCO, directamente desde Ring of Honor. Llega aquí a Lucha Libre Online. PCO, it is an honor for us to have you as our guest. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm great. What about you?
Everything good here in Puerto Rico so far. And that's actually, we're going to talk about Puerto Rico during the interview a while, but I just wanted to thank you very much, just, for being here, for taking part of your time. I wanted to start this interview asking you, how did your passion for pro wrestling started? I mean, which wrestler or rivalry engaged you enough to do this?
Just being a kid here in Canada, Montreal, and hockey is a very popular sport here. It's a national sport, actually. Probably baseball is the national sport in Puerto Rico. I don't know. But hockey is big, and hockey was like when you're a kid, you get up early in the morning and you go to the rink, and maybe 6, 7 a.m. the practices. So I used to get up early, and while I was waiting for my lift to pick me up, I was watching some wrestling. I've seen a documentary on Edouard Carpentier that really hooked me. Like, I really liked the athleticism. And also, my grandfather was a big wrestling fan. So he would put on TV Sunday morning, and I would watch it with him. But I got really hooked while, I was going for practicing in hockey. I was watching TV, and pro wrestling really caught my mind big time. I was really drawn into it.
Perfect. Also, if you allow me, I'll translate this. ¿Cómo comienza la pasión de PCO por la industria de la lucha libre? Bueno, él creció viéndolo en Canadá. En Canadá el deporte principal es el hockey, como en Puerto Rico es la pelota o el béisbol. Era bien normal allá. Entonces, en el periodo de tiempo, sí, él vio un documental de Carpe Diem que como que lo enamoró de la industria, del atleticismo y todo, pero cuando su abuelo la veía mientras crecían juntos, pero lo que realmente lo hooked him o lo enganchó en esta profesión fue que mientras él estaba en las prácticas de hockey, ellos veían lucha libre en la televisión. Era como que son los dos deportes principales de Canadá. From, while practicing, what do you recall of your first, training sessions, and specifically your first bump? Because you started training on the 80s and things were extremely different as they are right now.
Yeah, it was really tough. It was like I got to the wrestling school, and it was a very well-known wrestling school. Like, I didn't know, even when I signed with WWE, my first contract in 1993, they were asking me who trained me and everything. And I had after I got trained for my wrestling school, I went to do some other seminary with Edouard Carpentier. And when it was a seminary, I would go and I would put the names of those guys instead of saying where I got trained by Pat Girard, called Wazir Saint-Jean-Baptiste, because it was for free, but it was for helping the kids, in the neighbor in Montreal. And little that I know, Pat Patterson had started there, Mad Dog Vachon, the Rougeos, everybody kind of got started there. I didn't know. I was almost afraid to tell people who trained me. And I've learned over the years that everybody trained there. So it was crazy. My first bump was on the floor, not in the ring. We couldn't get in the ring for almost 6 months, I'd say. We'd just run, we'd just do all kinds of exercises outside the ring. Eventually we got in the ring, and then my dream was just to run the ropes, is get in the ring and run the ropes. when we were a kid, we think when we're gonna run the ropes, we're gonna spring back, like like we think the ropes are making us like come back across the other side, but it's actually you got to run into them ropes. But yeah, it was tough. You know, it was like they shoot you in a corner and someone else is there with a big boot and they just hit you for real in the face. They protect the kayfabe, and it was like surreal, almost like every time I went to Puerto Rico, I felt like the crowd was really into it, and they really liked what they saw, and they wanted to believe, like, more than to be entertained. Like Puerto Rico was special to me. It really, to me, it's like compared to South Africa, where the crowd was similar, where, you know, it was like you could tell like it was something different than not just entertainment.
Awesome. I'll translate this. ¿Cómo comienza entonces los primeros pasos de PCO en los cuadriláteros y entrenando? Bueno, él entrenó con Edward Carpentier, es el apellido de él. Y había como que este mito por el hecho de que pues las clases eran gratuitas, eran como una especie de programa para ayudar a los jóvenes, etcétera. Y es como que le daba vergüenza decir, mira, me entrenó tal persona. Entonces, cuando le preguntan los scouts de WWE como que dónde entrenó, le daba cosas, hasta que descubre que ahí entrenó todo el mundo. Ahí entrenó Rougeau, ahí entrenó Pat Patterson. Todos pasaron por las manos de él y todos entrenaron en ese programa. Y es como que, ok, se le quita un pequeño peso encima en ese momento. Cuando ya está una vez entrenando con él, antes era en el piso, todo era en el floor, no se subían al cuadrilátero hasta 6 meses después de eso. Y su primer bombo, su primera caída fue en el suelo, en el piso, en the floor. Doloroso por demás, era otra época completamente distinta. Eran 6 meses intensos de cardio, de levantamiento de pesas, de ejercicio, y después de eso era subir al cuadrilátero. Su sueño siempre era subir al cuadrilátero, y en los ropes, en las sogas, como que hacerle la corrida. Él pensaba que él iba a salir disparado como un resorte, como superhéroe en aquel momento, al igual que lo veía en la televisión, y cuando las sogas pregaron por primera vez, algo completamente distinto. Su experiencia en Puerto Rico fue buena, que también vamos a llegar a eso. Y sé que Puerto Rico fue muy especial para él, sobre todo el público, y siempre estaban contentos, siempre estaban metidos en el producto. Le encantaba el deporte, además del lado del entretenimiento, al igual, y lo compara bastante con lo que era el público en Sudáfrica. You took up after, you had the opportunity to graduate from your wrestling school and get into your first pro wrestling match. What do you recall of that first pro wrestling match? Where were you, and how do you felt going through that curtain for the first time?
Yeah, no, it was a curtain at that time. It was just going down the stairs.
The stairs.
Yeah. Well, the dressing rooms, the locker rooms are on second floor, and we go down the stairs and get on the main hall. But people would see us upstairs. But it was Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. and might have been like 300-400 people every Sunday. And before my time, before I got trained, that's the same building where we go to a wrestling school. I was going to a wrestling school on Tuesday and Sunday. No, on Tuesday and Friday, I believe, and Sunday was the show. But before my time, it was 2 shows a week at that place, one on the Tuesday and one on the Sunday. So it was twice a week, but I was just on the Sunday afternoon shows, and yeah, I was pretty bad in my first match, and I felt like for the first, maybe certain wrestlers would let me give them a backdrop or have some sort of a reaction, but most of the times it was just getting squashed. It was just getting bumped and getting beat up. It was for at least a year. Like maybe had like a couple wins, maybe 2 or 3 wins, like let's say on 52 weeks. Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. Debuting, like very tough debut. I was only 16. Sorry.
Don't worry. Perfect, I'll translate this. En aquel momento, cuando él hace su debut en los cuadriláteros, él tenía 16 años. No había una cortina para salir, era una escalera porque se cambiaba en un segundo piso. En el venue en donde él luchaba, en su territorio en Canadá, en Quebec, ahí luchaban 2 veces a la semana, antes luchaban los martes y los domingos, pero cuando llega su tiempo, él solo luchaba en el show de los domingos por la tarde. Por un año consecutivo, un año, one full year, él estaba haciendo trabajos para otras personas, eso era 1, 2, 3 todo el tiempo, poner el hombro en el suelo, recibir caídas, y esa era la dinámica en aquel momento en la industria de la lucha libre, específicamente en Canadá. You mentioned South Africa. You were also, you also traveled to Germany, but at one point in your early career, on the 90s, you had the opportunity to work in Puerto Rico for Carlos Colon. What do you recall of coming to Puerto Rico on the era that nobody wanted to come to Puerto Rico?
Yeah, it was weird. It was like, for me, I knew I had to make a name for myself outside of Montreal, because obviously I was not getting a break here. Like all the top spots were, like Rick Martel, Dino Bravo, the Rougeaus, and you had some middle guys. And, it was like they wouldn't, I just knew from hearing stories in the locker room that you just gotta get on the road to learn the ropes of the business, to learn everything about the business. It was a time where you would hear sometime about psychology in the ring, but nobody would explain to you what it is. You had to be somewhere on the road working full time, and you had to find a place where they'd give you that chance. And so for me, it was the Maritimes, my first territory for Emile Dupré. It was a Grand Prix wrestling. A lot of some guys from Puerto Rico, I believe, like Cuban Assassin was a big name there, but he was finished when I got there. Leo Burke was the main name. Bulldog Bob Brown, and Masahiro Chono was there when I was there. Eddie Watts. Some guys that, the Puerto Rican public fans might know. And then I was watching at Pro Wrestling Illustrated, the magazine, and I'd look at the results, and I'd see all the time Puerto Rico results, Memphis, Tennessee results, Portland, Oregon. So those places, the place that one times I saw Rougeau brothers against Carlos Colon and someone else, and that drew my attention. That's the place I need to go. And I was sending pictures all the time, sending resumes, and they were never calling me back. I would call Victor Jovica, because he was the booker. He was the guy on the phone at the time. I was talking to him. It was like, no, we're full. I had no connections. But what I did then, I did work in England. So I took all the papers from England. I was main eventing in England. I sent them to Puerto Rico from England. I sent like my Germany papers, all the articles, sent it to Carlos, all my South African, every tour I did that had a poster or something written in like another language, German, England, whatever. I would send that all the time, every couple of months. And eventually I got back home. Tour was finishing December 30th, 1993. And January 4th, 1993, I was at my apartment, the phone rang, and was like, hey, this is Carlos Colon. And he's talking to me and is asking me if I want to be in Puerto Rico. And I flew the next day or 2 days after.
Awesome story. I'll translate this first. ¿Cómo llega PCO a Puerto Rico en los 90? En aquel momento, él descubre la dura realidad de que para crecer en el negocio tenías que moverte de donde estaba, específicamente de su territorio. Lo hizo Rougeau, lo hizo Dino Bravo y lo hicieron el resto de las personas. Entonces, habían varias alternativas. Tuvo la oportunidad de trabajar en Oregon, tuvo la oportunidad de trabajar en Nashville, tuvo la oportunidad de trabajar en Alemania, en Sudáfrica, en Reino Unido, etcétera, etcétera. Y todos los meses él enviaba a Puerto Rico su información. En aquel momento se enviaban unas fotos, se enviaban unos posters y unos documentos o afiches de dónde estaba, y se comunicaba constantemente con Víctor Llovica, y Víctor Llovica le decía, no, estamos llenos, estamos llenos, estamos llenos, estamos llenos, estamos llenos. Y estando en Inglaterra, haciendo el evento estelar allá, ahí envió unos papeles con todos los tours donde había estado, en diferentes idiomas, los posters y todo. Acaba el tour en Inglaterra un 30 de diciembre de 1993, y el 4 de enero del próximo año, ya estando en su apartamento tranquilo, recibe la llamada. Este es Carlos Colón. ¿Quieres venir para Puerto Rico? Y ahí comienza esa travesía de PCO en Puerto Rico. You were, as mentioned, on really, really complicated times in Puerto Rico at that point. You were on the 90s. Boy, it was bloody. It was hard. The fans were extremely passionate or difficult at the same time. What do you recall of your early days, you know, in Puerto Rico? Did you have the opportunity to travel in the island, at least go to the beaches and everything? What do you recall?
Yeah, I was living at Isla Verde. I was living right on the beach. I mean, my hotel was not too far from the beach. Like, I would go to the beach. And Puerto Rico was there even when I got back there in 2005. It was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off. So it was 4 shows per week. So it was 3 days that, you know, I could train in the morning and just tan. Like, it was really dark. It was really dark. I was really tanned. I liked the weather a lot, especially during the summer. Like, it was a little bit cold in the winter. Like, it couldn't really go to the ocean. I think like January or February. I'm not so sure. I don't think it was that nice. But no, it was, yeah, I think in February, March, and April, I think this when I met Jacques anyways. Like, we just jet ski, and he came in to work for Carlos, and that's how we met. You know, I was already in Puerto Rico working a feud against Invader, Jose Gonzalez, and that was my opponent all the time. That was the main angle. It was me and Jose, and Jacques came in to work with Carlos for just a few weekends. Like, he was not full time like me. I was full time. He came in just for big shows, yeah, that's how we hung out. That's how we became the Quebecers in Puerto Rico. We're both from Montreal. He never heard of me. He was my idol when I was watching TV, like the Rougeos and Martel and Bravo and King Tonga, Steve Strong. What was his name in Puerto Rico? Steve Strong.
Sadistic Steve Strong. What's his name?
Yeah, Sadistic Steve Strong. Yeah, he was in Montreal too. So those guys are like my heroes. And then I was there in Puerto Rico. Jacques came in and I said, "Salut Jacques, comment ça va?" And he was like, "You speak French?" And then he couldn't believe it. And then he was just watching my match, giving me pointers. You should do this, should do that. But in his mind, he was already seeing a tag team because his brother had retired at that time.
Really interesting. I'll translate this. Él conoce a Jacques Rougeau en Puerto Rico. Jacques fue su héroe, toda la familia Rougeau mientras él fue creciendo. Jacques no sabía de él, y estando en Puerto Rico, él vivía en Isla Verde, tenía la playa al lado, se luchaba 4 veces por semana, se luchaba jueves, viernes, sábado y domingo, lunes, martes y miércoles era libre, era free, tenía la playa al frente, en verano era caliente, el clima le gustaba, en invierno el agua del océano era un poquito fría, pero se manejaba por ahí. Y estando en Puerto Rico, conoce a Jacques, y Jacques le habla en francés, como que, no puedo creerlo, habla francés. Y comienzan a hablarle y empieza a estudiar su lucha y empieza a darle pointers. Y así se nace el famoso equipo Los Quebecers en Puerto Rico por primera vez. While being in Puerto Rico, you and Jacques both had the opportunity to get to the next steps in your career, and that's the WWF. What do you recall of your early days in the WWF? How was the backstage ambience, and how was your experience? Because in the 90s, as mentioned, things were really different compared to this decade.
Yeah. First, the first thing that happened, Jacques called Vince and had Vince on the phone right away. He said, I got someone here that you want to look at. So I went for tryouts. Like I went to Carolina, South Carolina, and North Carolina. So it was 2 shows in 2 nights. And both nights I wrestled Jim Powers. And I did all right. Just it was the same match both nights. Okay. It was okay. It was nothing special. And I came back. I went there. I came back to Puerto Rico, and I felt like, oh my God, like it's so. You know, they had me. Someone picked me up at the airport with my name. You know, like okay, with a card. So I went to the limo, brought me to my hotel, which was like a super nice Holiday Inn, like big one, the suite. And then all my transportation was like taken care of to the buildings and things like that. It was just like you know, from WWC where some showers were just cold water, and my small room at a hotel like for $35 per day, for my air conditioning was broken all the time, to something super prestigious, the Holiday Inn first class flight, whatever, the canteen and drinks, and Hulk Hogan was there and Vince, and I was so impressed. So I did good, and then I came back to Puerto Rico, which was super tough because it's just wrestled in front of 20,000 people, and I have to go back in front of a Sunday at 200 people because Sundays were low, and just hoping for the best. And it took a few months before I got a call back, but I was in touch with the Mountie all the time.
Awesome. I'll translate this. Ok, Jacques Rougeau llama a Vince McMahon y le dice, Vince, tengo a alguien que necesito que veas. Y le muestra el trabajo de, en aquel momento, Jean-Pierre Lafitte, quien era que estaba trabajando, o PCO, y le muestra el trabajo de este caballero. Vince se impresiona y de momento, first class, primera clase el avión, hotel, Holiday Inn, una suite, otra cosa, luchando frente a 20,000 personas en una lucha de tryout, una lucha que él dice que no fue nada de especial, pero fue su lucha de tryout. Y ahí toca la parte difícil, volver a Puerto Rico, luchar un domingo, que era la casa más floja en aquel momento en Puerto Rico, un cold shower, el aire acondicionado siempre estaba dañado, era como que... pero estuvo varios meses en contacto con WWF mientras estuvo en Puerto Rico trabajando, y así ocurre la oportunidad cuando finalmente The Mountie, en aquel momento, que es Jacques, quien le da la llamada y le dice, hora de llegar a trabajar con nosotros. You were signed with the WWF at that point, and you won the tag team titles 3 times in your career, but the first one is a special one. Like, what do you recall the day you won the tag team titles with your idol in the same ring in the main company in the world at that point?
Yeah, it was the Steiner Brothers the first time. It was Monday Night Raw, and it was just crazy. We won the titles, and we could not sleep. Like we just talking about the match all night, like no sleep, but too much adrenaline. It was just crazy rush. I was very, very happy. I felt like all my efforts had been like 8 years, Puerto Rico, Maritime, South Africa, Germany, Germany with René Lesser, Germany with Hollow Vans, 2 different companies, all over, a lot of efforts, a lot of, I'd been to Calgary, everywhere, and some tough times, and then it was paying off one day, like everything paid off, like eventually. I was so happy. It was like crazy happy for a couple of days.
I'll translate this. Él gana los campeonatos mundiales en parejas de WWF en 3 ocasiones, como los Quebecers con Jean-Pierre Lafitte como su compañero y discúlpame, con Jacques Rougeau como su compañero. Y lo interesante de esto es que él dice que la primera vez fue contra los Steiner Brothers. Los Steiner Brothers eran los campeones. 1, 2, 3. Ganan los Quebecers los títulos y no podían dormir esa noche. Nadie dormía, estaban hablando de la lucha, la adrenalina, la emoción, fue como que otra cosa completamente distinta y esa sensación de que trabajando en todo el mundo, haciendo esto, y finalmente llega mi momento. Dice que fue muy feliz por varios días en el tiempo que estuvo allí. After that, you made a transition outside of the Quebecers and you were Jean-Pierre Lafitte for a while on WWF. Why did the Quebecers broke up? Like, who came up with the idea of that and push you as a singles competitor for a while?
Well, we're supposed to get a big push for WrestleMania 10, and it was not the case. So Jacques felt like betrayed, like felt like he was lied to, and he said I didn't make as much money as I made as a Mountie, and he said to Vince, I'm gonna take my retirement match, and it was gonna be one show prior to that to build up to the retirement match. So it was 2 times where the one time for the retirement match, we work on top and we sold out the Montreal Forum, 18,500 people. And the time before, it was me and Jacques against the Head Shrinkers. And we did the split where I attacked Jacques to set up the retirement match. And that was a good house too, maybe 13,000, 14,000. I don't know, it's pretty packed. So the deal for Jacques, he wanted to have like $50,000 for 2 shows to retire. And so him and Vince, they agreed on that. And that then I was gonna work by myself. And then that's when I suggest to be the pirate Jean-Pierre Lafitte.
Perfect, I'll translate this. El grupo se separa porque ellos iban a tener un push, los Quebecers, en WrestleMania 10. No cumplieron con eso y Jacques se sintió traicionado, se sintió molesto, decepcionado por la empresa y le dice a Vince, voy a retirarme. Y así lo hizo. Antes de su lucha de retiro, trabajaron en Montreal en una arena sumamente especial para ellos, con 18,500 personas, 18,500 people, como él dice, sold out completamente. Antes de eso también trabajaron en una casa con los Head Shrinkers, 13,000 y pico de personas también, over 13,000 people ahí. Casas enormes, hasta que pues Vince y él acceden a una lucha. Mira, yo no estoy ganando la misma cantidad que está ganando como de Mountie, es distinto, me siento traicionado. Y acordaron que él iba a trabajar sus últimas 2 luchas de retiro por $50,000, 25,000 y 25,000. Eso fue lo que acordaron y entonces ahí toca el momento de él hacer la transición al pirata Jean-Pierre Lafitte allí en WWF. After that, you were there for a while. You parted separate ways with the company and joined WCW for a while. What do you recall of your experience with WCW?
I just won. That was not like my place. I felt like I was a WWE guy. I didn't like. I don't know. I felt like I had to reconstruct all my connections. Like I didn't know Eric Bischoff. I didn't know Kevin Sullivan. I didn't know. No, I had to just build everything back up. Everything that it took me 3 years to build the trust with Vince and all that. I was really it was tough for me, WCW, but yeah, we ran the Molson Center in Montreal, and I got to co-main event with the Big Show, me against the Big Show, and Jacques against Hulk Hogan, and it was one of the me and Jacques promoted that event, so with WCW, but we took charge of everything. So that was one thing that I was proud of, is just to to have everybody on the show, Ric Flair and Hogan, and running the show basically. So that was the greatest experience there. That was a good experience. That's for me, WCW. That was it. It was nothing special.
Okay, I'll translate this. Él dice que él sentía que era un WWE guy, ya no conocía a Eric Bischoff, no conocía a Kevin Sullivan, tenía que construir sus relaciones y sus contactos desde cero, y como que no hubo nada especial. Lo más especial que hubo en su trayectoria por WCW fue que pudo promocionar, o sea, trabajar show junto con Jax en su país, y él luchó contra Big Show, Jax luchó contra Hulk Hogan, tener a Ric Flair en la cartelera. Esa parte sí fue especial, pero el resto como que no le encantó su experiencia en WCW. And you also had the opportunity to work on the original version of ECW, also completely different to what you've been used during your whole career. What do you recall of that, short stay with you on ECW?
Yeah, my best, probably one of the not my greatest night, because I had a lot of good nights, but that was one of my favorite one. Was my first time at the ECW arena, and it was for the world heavyweight title against Justin Credible, and Francine was with Justin Credible, and she attacked me with a kendo stick, and I grabbed her, and I was on the second rope. I grabbed her from the outside of the Quadralito and from the ring, and from the apron up on my shoulders, and passed her through a table, and everybody went crazy. And so it was just, the crowd was so into the match, like from beginning to the end. It was just it was one of my good moments, like favorite moment there in ECW, and had a couple matches against Rhino, because I met Rhino. We were like European Tag Team Championship in CWA for Autobahn. So me and Rhino were friends in ECW. So, but we always been friends. But it was good then.
Perfect, I'll translate that. En ECW, su primera lucha por el campeonato mundial ante Justin Credible, acompañado por Francine. Y él le hace una movida y el público estalla de emoción. O sea, el público estaba bien metido en la lucha. Le gustó su experiencia en la empresa. Trabajó con Rhino un periodo de tiempo también con la empresa ECW, que lo conocía de antes, pero ahí fue, vamos a decirlo de esa manera, que se solidificó todo. After that, you did a few things in your career. Among them, you had the opportunity to come back to Puerto Rico, this time with the IWA. Savio Vega, Victor Quiñones, Miguel Perez, and the whole crew brought the old Pirates from WWF, their old friend Jean-Pierre Lafitte, and boy, the clothesline. You were Intercontinental Champion here. Yeah. I recall that era because I lived that era, and I recall the lariat with the thing,
blue thing,
with the blue thing you use here, and everyone was asking like, what the hell is he hiding down there? Like, people were really mad at you because you were cheating. So what do you recall this time? Yeah, because you were a heel, but what do you recall that time in Puerto Rico with IWA?
It was good. The business was still pretty hot. I think the business really popped in 2003, I think, where it was sold out everywhere. And 2005, we're still doing, like, we did the stadium, and I can't remember, baseball stadium was packed, 10,000, 15,000 people.
Irán Bithorn, I believe it was.
No, it was me against Ricky Banderas for Juicio Final 2005.
Roberto Clemente, maybe.
But one of the, it's been a long time. But I became the Intercontinental champion, beating Ricky Banderas, and had I had been feuding with Ricky the whole time for almost like 6 months, 7 months, like the whole time in 2005 for almost a full year. It was me and Ricky, and I dropped the belt back to him in a cage match where he took the blue thing, put it on his arm, and gave it to me. And people were crazy. They was really, really, they went banana. That was crazy. Yeah. It was like, that was a good time. I was good friend. I became good friend with Savio in WWE and Miguel Perez. But Savio was saying if I would have a territory, I would like to have someone like you. So that's when I called him, because I knew he wanted to. We were good friends, me and Savio. So it was cool. It was really cool. I really liked my time there, 2005.
Perfect, I'll translate this. Él dice que cuando llegó a Puerto Rico el negocio estaba caliente y was hot. Estalló en el 2003-2005, todo era sold out. Era otra cosa completamente distinta a lo que vive en los 90. En aquel momento llega como Jean-Pierre Lafitte con aquella cosa azul en el brazo. Se ganó el odio del público y su historia principal fue contra Ricky Banderas y Jean-Pierre Lafitte. Estadio completamente a capacidad, campeonato intercontinental. Hubo un momento de la lucha en donde por fin Banderas le sacó la cosa azul, se la puso él y le aplica el lazo y el público se volvió loco. Como le dicen, buen banana, su experiencia en Puerto Rico en ese momento cambió. El Sabio le dijo como que mira, cuando estaban en WWF eran amigos, al igual que de Miguel. Si yo tengo un territorio algún día, yo quiero tener un tipo como tú. Y eso fue lo que hizo. Lo llamó y ahí fue que llegó Jean-Pierre Lafitte acá. After Puerto Rico, you wrestled, you wrestled and you were a commentator for a while with TNA. So how was
that? That cosa azul.
The blue thing.
It brings me a lot of memories, because I can understand the Spanish very well, like when you translate that. And then I remember that cosa azul, the blue thing. Yeah, it's so cool. It was a very cool idea, very cool gimmick there. That's a great time. After that I did commentary for TNA and French in Montreal for 3 years. That's it.
Perfect. Hizo traducción con TNA de comentarista francés por 3 años allá en Montreal. And after, that you did many things in your career, but at one point, everything changed for you. You managed to reinvent yourself when nobody thought you were going to do it. You got signed with Ring of Honor in 2018, and the monster was born. PCO changed your lives forever. How did you manage, man? I mean, you were a Quebecer, you were Jean-Pierre Lafitte, you did so many things in your career, and still on the 2010s, late 2010s, you reinvented yourself one more time, and here you are. How do you manage to do it?
Well, I was always wanted to be world heavyweight champion, the main guy, and being the main champ, the big champ, and being part of having a major role to play for a major company. I never quit on my dream. I always believe, even when it looked like nothing was gonna work. It's really just believing and never quitting on my dream, and kept working hard, and eventually everything came on glue. I met this guy Destro, who trained me, and he was a maniac of monsters. And then when he saw me walking, he said, you look like Frankenstein. You are Frankenstein. And from there, it was like everything exploded. Like 2018, it was like probably the most popular wrestler on the indie scene. Like, I've wrestled everybody, Riddle, I've wrestled Joey Janela, I've wrestled, I don't know, so many, Tony Depp, and so many guys, like, and also Walter, WrestleMania 34, my match with Walter is probably one of my best matches in my whole career also. So that match kind of triggered everything else with the character of the French Frankenstein. So all together, and then every company wanted to sign me, and Ring of Honor was just like, they were so good. So I just decided to go with them. So it's been 3 years now almost.
Perfect.
With Ring of Honor.
I'll translate this. Lleva 3 años con Ring of Honor y ahí maneja, entonces es no rendirse, es mantenerse enfocado, es la persistencia. Pasa de ser un Quebecer a ser Jean-Pierre Lafitte el pirata, a ser el de la Cosa Azul en Puerto Rico, a ser comentarista y ahora de momento se reinventa nuevamente. Nadie pensaba que podía hacerlo, lo logra hacer. Y no solamente eso, dice siempre quise convertirme en campeón mundial de una empresa, ser la cara de una empresa. Tuvo la oportunidad de hacerlo y Destro fue el que oh, me gusta, camina, veo tu forma de caminar, me gusta para esto, como poner una especie de Frankenstein francés, y le llamó la atención. En aquel momento él estaba bien caliente en las independientes, luchó con Riddle, luchó con Joey Janela, luchó con Walter, luchó con un montón de gente que él dice que esa lucha con Walter fue una de las mejores de su carrera. Y de esa manera logra entonces reinvertirse una vez más, esta vez con Ring of Honor. And you defeated an undefeated person at that point to win the title. It was a full story. Like you defeated Rush. Rush wasn't pinned by no one, no human. Then a monster pinned him. What was the first thing that went through your mind when the referee counted 3 and you were declared the new Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion?
Yeah, it's like a movie in your head that in maybe 10 seconds you see all your life unroll in your mind. Bang, 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 bang. All the efforts, all the tough time, all the, you know, not having money and just being in a room with no heat or whatever in England, or being just paying dues, and eventually the dream came through, and it was great. It was great. You know what I like the most about this? It's all the messages I received from the fans that got inspired. I was, you know, not doing good in my life, and I saw what you did, and that inspired me to do something with my life. And people got back to gym and chasing their goals and their dreams, and that means so much more to me. Everything that I brought to the world and the fans and all the feedbacks that I've got, that was cool. It's good feeling.
Awesome. I'll translate this. Lo que él recuerda de esa noche: derrota a Rush, luchador invicto, gana campeonato mundial peso completo de Ring of Honor, e inmediatamente vienen a su mente todos esos momentos, pay dues, estar en un cuarto en Inglaterra sin calentador, estar montando cuadrilátero, todas las partes difíciles, no tener dinero dentro de la industria, y finalmente decir como que, después de tanto trabajo, finalmente pude lograrlo. Y más importante para él fue los mensajes de la gente, como que mira, vi la situación en la que estaba, me encuentro en una situación difícil, me inspiraste a hacer esto, me inspiraste a hacer algo distinto con mi vida, y ese cariño de la gente simplemente se sintió bien. I also want to say something else in Spanish. Ring of Honor lo pueden sintonizar todos los lunes a las 7 de la noche, hora del este. ¿En dónde? En Fight TV y ROHWrestling.com o ringofhonorwrestling.com. Ahí los pueden seguir todos los lunes a las 7 de la noche. También tienen su Women's Wednesday, todos los miércoles disponible. Women's Wednesday a las 7 de la noche a través del canal de YouTube de Ring of Honor. También lo pueden buscar todos los miércoles. Ahí tiene lucha libre femenina, y pueden seguir a PCO en sus redes sociales, donde Instagram como @PCOisNotHuman, PCO is not human en Instagram, y en Twitter como PCO is not human. También lo pueden buscar ahí. PCO, it's been a complete honor for us to have you as our guest. Last but not least, and I want to read this part. X Wild Card Wallace, Wald Wallace, Super B1, Quebecer Pierre, Pierre Olé, Pierre Carl Olé, Pierre Perfect Creation 1, PCO, Chris Cannonball, Killer Cole Wallace, Jean-Pierre Lafitte, Carl Olé, and Bash the Terminator. You've been in this industry since 1987. That's 80s, 90s, 2000, 2020s, and now
30 years.
Yeah,
30s,
but you wrestled, and you managed to wrestle in 5 different decades at this point.
Yeah, it's crazy, yeah?
Yeah. My question for you is, do you feel that you achieved everything you wanted to do in your career? When you look back, that kid that was growing up seeing the ROH family over there, that was full with dreams and hopes, and now a veteran that has wrestled in 5 different decades, that has been a world champion, and that has been in every major company in the world. Once you look back, do you feel happy with your career inside the wrestling industry and the legacy you've constructed?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy, but I think I've got something more to accomplish. Yeah, I got one more step to go, I feel. And we'll see how it goes. Like I said before, sometimes it doesn't look like it's going where I want to go, but sometimes it's a quick turn and things are happening. So I'm really focused on really achieving a few more things in this business, but I feel pretty good about my career. But of course, if I had to do it all over again, I would do very, very many things differently, but it is what it is, and I'm very happy with what I have accomplished.
Perfect. I'll translate this. ¿Se siente él contento? 5 décadas diferentes ha luchado, ha hecho tantas cosas. Sí, se siente feliz con su carrera, pero todavía falta más por hacer. Todavía queda algo más, todavía queda mucho que dar de PCO en la industria. Si lo volvería a hacer otra vez, sí, lo volvería a hacer, haría cosas distintas, pero en general sí se siente feliz con su trayectoria de la industria. Ring of Honor todos los lunes, 7 de la noche, hora del este, ROHWrestling.com y Fight TV, y los miércoles el Wednesday Women's Wrestling a las 7 de la noche por el canal de YouTube de Ring of Honor. Fueron PCO y Michael Morales Torres para Lucha Libre Online. Sir, once again, it's been a complete honor, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. You made Puerto Rico felt to me a little bit like it was like an adoption home for me. It was cool. Same thing goes for England and Germany. So it's there. I really enjoyed my time on the island, and hopefully I'll go back. Maybe I got a 12-year-old daughter now. Maybe hopefully I can go back for a vacation or something. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
On the opposite, thank you very much. And yeah, we're really happy to have you. And let's wrap this up. Fue PCO, 5 décadas distintos dentro de la industria de la lucha libre, la leyenda de la industria directamente de Ring of Honor, y Michael Morales Torres para Lucha Libre Online, la marca número 1 de Pro Wrestling y Combat Sports en español.